Hello and welcome to the Royal Beat Collection with me, Russell Myers. In this show, we'll take you to the heart of royal matters, ably assisted by royal experts in the know. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is on the agenda today as we discuss her latest business ventures and life in California.
She's back. She's back on Instagram. Take a look. What are you reading into that, if anything at all?
Well, she can still do her calligraphy. She writes very well. We know she's very proud of her handwriting. I mean, it's I'm back, I'm dressed in white, I'm sort of, perfect California babe, I guess is the message. We've been expecting her for some time on Instagram, so I guess this is her way of saying 2025, it's going to be a big year.
As we saw on Instagram, Meghan is posting as Meghan, and she's posting rather a lot. In fact, one video has got us all talking, and it was a post to celebrate Prince Harry and Meghan's daughter's 4th birthday. And the Duchess of Sussex shared a video showing us what they got up to before the princess arrived in a hospital room.
I don't know what to say. I've watched this so many times now. Look, it's a really lovely moment between them, isn't it, as they're in the delivery room, but I feel a little bit voyeuristic watching it. I feel like I shouldn't be seeing this.
You can film it, but just keep the video to yourself, maybe? Or share it with your close family and friends, perhaps?
I think we can all agree we didn't have that on our bingo card, did we?
No. I just kept thinking when I watched that, can you imagine if the late Queen was still alive?
Oh, God. I mean, it is distinctly unroyal.
It
isn't
yes.
it?
Before the video dropped,
yes.
She shared 4 images of Lilibet for her birthday, which were beautiful.
Beautiful images. One of Meghan cradling a newborn Lilibet, skin-to-skin contact.
Hours after the video was shot, we should assume.
Yes, absolutely. A beautiful one of Prince Harry holding his baby daughter in his arms, looking into each other's eyes.
Which is
really
a stunning picture,
lovely.
isn't it?
And that's what we would have been talking about had
so
the video not
beautiful.
followed.
Now, sticking with Meghan, she's had something of a rebrand ahead of her new Netflix series, which is called With Love, Meghan. The Duchess of Sussex took to Instagram to unveil her latest business endeavour.
In 2 weeks, my show is coming out, which I'm so excited for, and also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about. Last year, I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood, it's a nickname for Santa Barbara, but it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area. Then Netflix came on, not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was huge. So I thought about it, and I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022, and this is the moment. And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been. And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG, you know I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening. This is what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for the past few years, but now I can.
So, Russell, your thoughts? Big news, or is it?
Big news. That's what we're all waiting for, weren't we?
Were you curious?
I'm always curious. This I've said before, I'm not the target market for Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand. But people are interested. I mean, it's a bit embarrassing to have these trademark issues, thinking you were going to call it one thing and now having to backtrack and say, oh, it's going to be all this all along. But while also saying, well, I haven't been able to share this with you. I haven't been able to do any of this for ages. They left the royal family 5 years ago. So I think all of this is slightly contrived.
I think the TIG was more authentic. It really was what she was doing at the time. And what she's doing now, in that video, she says, this is who I am, this is me. But we've seen a very different Meghan over the years. We saw Meghan on Oprah, angry, feminist, empowered, not focused on flowers and tablescaping.
But you can
But
be
I
both.
do think
Do you think that maybe the royal family might have been more on board with this than, say, the Oprah interview, Sarah?
Yes, I mean, I think it's in everyone's interest that this is a success. Meghan and Harry need it. They need it to work with Netflix to continue that partnership. They need to make a living. And it's in the royal family's interest that this works, because if Meghan can make a living making jam, that's a damn sight better for them than it is talking about the royal family.
Stay tuned for more of the Royal Beat collection.
True Royalty TV is the only on-demand channel devoted to royalty. Join me, Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen, on the Royal Beat Book Club, the series which reviews the best royal books in print. Dive into June Wollerton's book and get bunting ready to discover pomp and pageantry at its finest in our history of royal jubilees. Author Craig Brown presents a different side to Queen Elizabeth in A Voyage Around the Queen. Turn the pages of Tiffany Jenkins' book exploring the history and current state of privacy and how it impacts the monarchy in royal private lives. You can watch all episodes of the Royal Beat Book Club only on True Royalty, the home of Royal TV.
Welcome back to the Royal Beat. Now, this week was supposed to see the launch of the new Netflix series With Love, Meghan. However, the Duchess of Sussex announced that the programme would be delayed in response to the devastating Los Angeles wildfires that have destroyed thousands of homes and tragically taken lives. So, Sarah, right decision?
I mean, it was a no-brainer, wasn't it? They didn't have any option but to postpone it. Meghan asked Netflix if they could postpone it so that they could focus on the people of California, her home state, and absolutely the only decision that could possibly have been made. And a contrast, really, to the decision that was made over the Oprah interview when Prince Philip was seriously ill in hospital. And that went ahead. And I remember at the time thinking, why did someone not just hold this off?
Well, they probably didn't have a choice in that,
No.
did they? I mean, the PR juggernaut was already way down the hill, and they had, they had sat down for the interview. It was all ready to go. The PR had been done. So for this decision, it is, of course, the right decision.
It's the Netflix series everyone's talking about. With Love, Meghan sees the Duchess of Sussex invite friends and famous guests to a beautiful California estate where she shares her cooking, gardening and hosting tips. It's the Sussex's fifth project with the streamer, and it's been called a make or break moment. So, did we all watch it? And Matt, let's start with you. I know you love a little bit of hostessing.
I watched some of it. I did struggle to get to the end, although I did fast forward to the end. It feels a little bit empty, dare I say a bit kind of vacuous and kind of lacking depth. And it's interesting that the reviewers, the TV reviewers, particularly in America, took 8 episodes to reach the same conclusion that many journalists reached while she was being a working royal.
Kate, what were your takeaways? You're a busy working mum. How much time have you got in your life for some of the suggestions?
Very little time for spreading edible flowers onto my kids' breakfast cereals, I have to say. Look, I mean, part of me wanted to like this. Like, I love the interiors. I love the idea that you can, make something and learn tips and things like that. But I just felt that it was a missed opportunity. I thought there was so much more she could do if she was a little bit braver. Where was the dinner party episode? Have something at night, where dipping your feet in the pool, having a glass of champagne at the end of the night, talking about how it's such a great do. Or, there was just more. I think she could have been braver.
Could have been braver.
Could have been better.
Do you think that this is a woman who's been so badly burnt that she's playing it super safe?
She knows she can't win either way, and that she's always going to be criticised. And I think that has, as you rightly said, made her hold back a little bit. There were parts of it where I almost felt she did appear a bit vulnerable. The episode with the celebrity chef where she was saying, I really, really hope we become friends. It made me think actually of my daughter, it's the kind of thing a little girl might say.
But she must have lost a lot of friends along the way.
It's been fairly well documented. I think I agree with Kate, absolutely. There were things that it would have been great to hear from her. And, back to your point about being a busy working mum, I know we should all have a solidarity for each other, but that it was quite hard to relate to.
Well, there was criticism, wasn't there, that she had, that it was about, she talked about being a strong, independent woman, women shouldn't just be at home in the kitchen, and then here we have a show in which that's exactly what she was doing. But I don't think that's at odds, really, with what we know about Meghan, because look at Martha Stewart, self-made billionaires. I think you can, and look at Gwyneth Paltrow. There were touches where
let's not forget, this is a business launch, right?
Yes.
This is a show to...
Exactly. So I actually didn't see that as a solid criticism. I thought that was something
this is her striking out on her own, away from the royal family. She's moved away from talking about them. We didn't really hear anything about that. There were a few sort of little comments like, well, I haven't been able to do this.
Well, she's had a bit of an identity crisis or remorphed several times. So we're now being told that this is Meghan Sussex. This is, you know, a kind of change in name. She changed her name several times. We're now being sold that this lifestyle, this is what Meghan is, when we've previously seen her, you know, dishing the dirt on Oprah Winfrey, allegedly being quite combative with the royal family. We've seen many different versions of Meghan, and now we're being sold this one. So I think that's where people are struggling. That's where I'm struggling, to kind of really understand, is this an actress selling herself to everybody? What about the Meghan that we've seen previously?
Lots more still to come on the Royal Beat collection, but first, find out what else you could watch on True Royalty TV. Discover the parallels between Prince Harry's mother and wife in Diana and Meghan, Royal History Repeating. Find out how the royal family has evolved in the last century and how it will continue to change in the future of the monarchy. Relive the Wales's love story and happy ever after in Kate's The Making of a Princess. You can get this and more only on True Royalty, the home of Royal TV. You're watching the Royal Beat collection. Meghan the Duchess of Sussex is on the agenda today as we discuss her latest business ventures and life in California.
First, it was the launch of As Ever, with all of her products selling out within an hour. And then there was the first episode of her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, featuring her close friend and founder of Bumble, Whitney Wolfe Herd. Well, we've all listened to it. Afia, as a royal podcaster extraordinaire, tell me, what did you make of it?
Do you know, I really liked it. What I will say is, this is pitched as a business podcast. It's Confessions of a Female Founder. But I actually think it's more about everything else that goes on, particularly in a woman's life, right? Around entrepreneurship, business, building your brand, whatever that may be. And I thought there was some really, really nice bits in there, you know, talking about motherhood, talking about the different challenges that you face. I mean, yeah, it's definitely very American, right? But I personally really liked it. I really liked hearing from both of them.
Do you think it would be a more interesting podcast if perhaps she didn't have her friends on who might challenge her a little bit more?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But one thing that the royals have never done is sit opposite a table from someone who disagrees with them. You know, that would be an absolute first. If Meghan did a podcast which was a little more debatey with somebody who didn't agree with her, then she would be breaking ground that no royal has ever broken before.
Now, you know, however much you think Meghan has been subjected to abuse in the media, it's clearly an issue that they wanted to discuss. What did you make of sort of using this podcast, I suppose, as an opportunity to explore that narrative?
I think it was very interesting. Clearly, they both feel almost brutalised by the level of scrutiny and media that they've both had, and that's something in common for both of them. But then, you know, when you're in the public eye, I do think you have to develop a bit of a thick skin sometimes and ignore it and don't react to it, because if you're starting to react to every comment, then you're actually adding oxygen onto the flames.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has released 2 further episodes of her new podcast.
Meghan is sort of using this as a vehicle to talk about her own business venture with As Ever. It hasn't landed for me, and I think that it could have been really, really good.
I think, you know, Meghan feels that she's really showing the world that she's a proper businesswoman, that she's an entrepreneur, that she... And yet, I've noticed all the way through these episodes, she's always dropping in, you know, ROI and R&D and this, that and the other, and lots of sort of, you know, Harvard Business School type lingo in a way that it just doesn't feel totally authentic. Funnily enough, I think her TV show is more authentic, even though it's obviously scripted. This feels too scripted to me. It feels like she's sort of showing off. And it might be that because I'm a Brit of a certain age, but there is also so much sort of therapy speak, and it gives me the ick. I just find it, you know, when they're all talking about finding your truth and all this sorts of
word salad,
and it just feels a bit icky to me.
If you like that kind of, you know, Western American language, fine, you'll love the podcast. But I was particularly put off by that first episode and didn't feel like I learned very much. The second episode, however, with Reshna Saljani, who set up Girls Who Code, and actually there's a royal link there because the pair met one another at Kensington Palace, which I think
Meghan talks about. She's not shying from her.
Well, she spoke about it very briefly, but sort of spat it out, I think. But we met at Kensington Palace. Move on. But you know, there was a real connection between them there. I thought, not just on sort of the business level, but how much harder it is for a woman to do it, how much harder it is for a woman of colour to achieve in the way in which, you know, white men in America can achieve things much more easily.
Yes.
So I felt that second episode really, I learned something from it.
We've all worked on podcasts, right? It takes a while for a show to find its groove and its audience, and we don't have, you know, the intense scrutiny that is applied to everything that she does. So yeah, maybe it will find its own rhythm.
I think that's really fair, because she's spoken many times about how upset she gets from the criticism. And so, of course, it's tempting to stick to a script rather than go ad-lib, because when you go ad-lib, you can say something that people will criticise you for. So, of course, as she gets into her groove, and if the bits that are ad-libbed are the bits that are received better, she will grow in confidence and be a bit less scripted. It'll be a virtuous circle.
Plenty more still to come on the Royal Beat collection, but first, here's what else you can watch on True Royalty TV.
Join me, Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen, on The Royal Beat Back in Time as I dive into the history books with expert guests to uncover the scandals and secrets of the monarchy in years gone by. Queen Victoria's relationship with men delves into her close bond with Lord Melbourne and also her tense interactions with William Gladstone. Look back at the spectacular splendour when kings and queens are crowned in the history of coronations. He was the ultimate, and some would say the original royal rock star. Find out more about his dramatic life in The Duke of Monmouth, the Royal Rebel. You can watch all episodes of The Royal Beat Back in Time only on True Royalty, the home of Royal TV.
You're watching the Royal Beat collection.
Last week, Meghan appeared in an interview situation on a podcast. The podcast was called The Jamie Kern-Lima Show. First things first, were you surprised that this was the show that she decided to sit down for an hour and a half and agree to answer pretty much anything?
Well, no, because they're friends, aren't they? Meghan and Jamie are friends, and they made that quite clear at the beginning that they've been friends for a long time.
It's a point they labour across the show, yeah.
We didn't get any big revelations, but what would they be, really? And I think it was just more digging into, you know, who are you, Meghan? What's your everyday life? You know, tell us about your relationship with Harry. You know, Meghan talking about how they're in their honeymoon period now, that they've been in the trenches before. I think she was referring to...
get into that.
No, but I don't think that's really the MO of Jamie's podcast. I think it's more, you know, we're friends, let's talk about our lives.
Were you surprised to read, Ross, that she now says she no longer reads any media about herself?
Meghan has said, you know, I don't read anything. She previously said when she was in the royal family, I don't read anything, I don't look at the press. We know that Harry is absolutely consumed with everything that's written about him in the media. For Meghan to say that she doesn't look at it, I think that's a bit disappointing.
For me, it's akin to the comment that she didn't know anything about Prince Harry and she hadn't looked up his family before she met them. I don't buy it.
I buy it because there's so much hate written about her. Like, there's literally an industry...
I mean, I wouldn't look if I was her.
Exactly, I wouldn't. There's an industry of hate that's built around talking about her. I wouldn't read anything. I absolutely would.
It's a self-preservation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so damaging for your mental health. So I believe it when she says she doesn't read anything about her, because so much of it's so hateful.
Some comfort for palace officials would be the fact that she seemed to talk down the idea of a memoir. Definitely interested in writing another book, she says, but probably not yet on a memoir, hasn't lived quite enough life.
Yeah, I think I could see her doing a cookbook, right?
Yeah,
to go along with
book.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. So like a coffee table book or something like that. Something that would go along with Love Meghan, that would be in that vein, that would be about hosting, entertaining, and I think that's what I could absolutely see, and that would work for her.
Visually stunning,
yeah,
wasn't
it was.
You can see that sitting on your coffee table.
As well as offering up the podcast, the Netflix series, we've now got Meghan's wardrobe. You can shop this now, and this is Shop My, which is a facility that's offered to kind of premium influencers,
Yeah,
content
the elite,
creators, the
yeah.
elite. Yes. Tell me about this and what we've learned from how Meghan's wardrobe is pulled together.
Yeah, so obviously there was a lot of focus in With Love Meghan on her wardrobe, which was amazing. You know, maybe not what the rest of us would be wearing in the kitchen to make
tomatoes, only a white shirt.
But
hello,
you know,
somebody's been inspired.
And she'll be making skillet spaghetti tonight.
I will. How did you know?
But this is some of the pieces that Meghan has worn or similar pieces, and now you can find them and buy them yourself. And no matter what the critics have said about With Love Meghan, one of the things that has been successful is the fashion, the brands, because they have seen a massive surge in interest. So many of the items sold out.
And then it's everything from the very high end to a pair of Zara trousers.
Well, yeah, there's a trench coat on here from Uniqlo, which is £99, for example, but there are shoes that are £575. Meghan has said, you know, please note some products may contain commissionable links, so she'll get a cut of any clicks.
Of all the things she's done recently creatively, I think this feels like the most natural fit for her. She sort of is a royal influencer. I mean, you know, we have, you know, Kate, the Princess of Wales, everything she wears gets huge scrutiny on her wardrobe, but, you know, she's in a different role. She's going to be the next queen. She can't do stuff like this. But you know what? If it's going to make her the money that she wants to make, and if it's, you know, people, it's giving people a little bit of an aspirational slice of her life that's more affordable than the multi-million-pound Montecito mansion, then why not?
That's all we've got time for on this episode of the Royal Beat Collection, but do keep the conversation going on socials. Just search True Royalty TV and make sure you listen to the Royal Beat podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. See you next time.